Have you ever smiled in front of people but cried alone at night because someone hurt you deeply? Not a stranger, someone you trusted, someone you loved. Let me ask you one honest question. What are you doing with that pain? Because how you respond to hurt will decide whether you become bitter or better. And today I want to share something that can change the way you handle pain forever. Friends, getting hurt is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you are human. No one moves through life untouched. Words wound, actions scar, silence breaks hearts. But God never wastes pain. Every hurt carries a hidden lesson, a silent strength, and a powerful opportunity to grow if you know what to do. So today, I'm not here to teach you how to fight back. I'm here to teach you how to rise above. Because when someone hurts you, God invites you to grow wiser, not colder. So listen carefully. When someone hurts you, the first thing that rises is not wisdom, it is emotion. Your heart beats faster, your chest feels heavy, your mind starts replaying words again and again, and suddenly you feel an urgent need to respond. You want to explain yourself, defend yourself, prove your point, or maybe even hurt them back the same way they hurt you. In that moment, reacting feels natural. It feels justified. It feels powerful. But that moment is exactly where most people lose their peace, because reaction is fast, emotional, and often careless. A pause, on the other hand, is calm, intentional, and guided by God's wisdom. Think about daily life. Someone speaks harshly to you at work in front of others. Instantly, your ego feels attacked. Your mind says, reply now, don't let this slide. But if you pause, even for a few breaths, you give yourself space to rise above the situation. That pause protects you from saying something you'll regret later. It protects your dignity. It protects your inner peace. God has designed silence not as weakness, but as strength under control. A pause is not about suppressing your feelings, it's about understanding them. When you pause, you give your emotions time to settle, like muddy water becoming clear when left undisturbed. When emotions settle, clarity emerges, and clarity always leads to better decisions. Many broken relationships, lost opportunities, and lifelong regrets began with one sentence spoken too quickly. Very few problems were created by silence. Look at how often we regret our reactions. An angry message sent in seconds can damage a relationship built over years. A sharp reply can undo months of trust. But when you pause, you allow God to guide your response instead of your wounded ego. God's guidance does not shout, it whispers. And you can only hear a whisper when you slow down. In daily family life, this is especially powerful. A loved one says something insensitive. They may not even realize how deeply it hurt you. If you react immediately, the conversation turns into a fight. Voices rise, words cut deeper, and suddenly the original issue is forgotten. But if you pause, you give yourself the chance to respond from maturity rather than pain. Later, when you speak calmly, your words carry weight. They are heard, they heal instead of harm. Pausing also protects you from false assumptions. When someone hurts you, your mind quickly fills in stories. They don't respect me. They did this on purpose. They don't care. But many times, these stories are not facts. They are emotions in disguise. A pause allows truth to catch up with imagination. It allows you to see the situation clearly instead of through the lens of hurt. God works in pauses. Nature itself teaches this. Seeds grow underground in silence before breaking through the soil. The night pauses the noise of the day so the body can heal. Even breathing has a pause between inhale and exhale. That pause keeps you alive. In the same way, emotional pauses keep your inner life healthy. When you pause, you are not ignoring the pain. You are choosing the right time to address it. Timing is wisdom. Words spoken at the wrong time, even if they are true, can cause damage. But the same words spoken after a pause can bring understanding and change. Pausing also builds self-respect. It shows that you are not controlled by other people's actions. Anyone can react. Only a strong person can pause. That pause tells the world, my peace is more valuable than my pride. And when you live this way, people begin to treat you differently. They sense your calm strength. Most importantly, pausing allows you to hand the situation over to God before taking action. Instead of saying, "What should I say back?" you ask, "What response will bring peace to my soul?" God does not rush. When you pause, you align yourself with that divine calm. You move from chaos to clarity. So the next time someone hurts you, remember this. You don't need to win the moment. You need to protect your future. Pause. Breathe. Let your emotions settle. Let God guide your response. Because one wise pause can save you from a lifetime of regret and lead you toward a life of peace, dignity, and quiet strength. When someone hurts you, the pain feels personal, immediate, and deeply targeted, as if the universe paused just to wound you. Your mind starts asking, "Why would they do this to me?" That question is natural, but it can quietly trap you, because not every hurt is about you, even when it lands on your heart. Many people walk through life carrying invisible wounds, unspoken fears, and unresolved struggles, and sometimes their pain spills onto others. Understanding this truth can completely change how you experience hurt. Think about a common daily situation. Someone snaps at you in traffic, at work, or even at home. The tone is sharp, the words are unnecessary, and instantly you feel disrespected. Your mind says, "They don't value me." But pause for a moment and look deeper. That person may be exhausted, overwhelmed, or dealing with something you cannot see. The reaction is often a reflection of their inner state, not your worth. When you stop personalizing every action, you free yourself from carrying pain that was never meant for you. In everyday life, personalization is one of the biggest sources of emotional suffering. A message is left unanswered and you assume rejection. A colleague doesn't acknowledge your effort and you assume disrespect. A friend grows distant and you assume betrayal. Most of the time, these assumptions are stories created by the mind, not facts created by reality. When you learn to separate facts from feelings, your heart becomes lighter. God created human beings with complexity. Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Some people were never taught how to communicate gently. Some were raised in environments where anger was normal. Some are hurting so deeply that they don't even realize they are hurting others. Recognizing this doesn't make their behavior acceptable, but it makes your heart peaceful. You stop turning someone else's struggle into your personal burden. Imagine a child who is tired and hungry. They cry, shout, and throw things. Do we say the child is bad, or do we understand the condition? In the same way, many adults behave from emotional hunger and inner exhaustion. When you understand this, compassion replaces resentment. And compassion is not weakness, it is clarity. Personalizing pain also steals your self-worth. When you believe every negative action is about you, you begin to question your value. You replay conversations, analyze expressions, and search for flaws within yourself. This creates unnecessary self-doubt. But when you realize that people's actions are often driven by their own limitations, you stop shrinking yourself to fit someone else's broken perspective. Daily life becomes more peaceful when you stop making everything about you. A rude comment becomes just a moment, not a memory. A cold response becomes information, not an insult. You learn to observe instead of absorb. And observation gives you control, while absorption drains your energy. This mindset also helps in relationships. Many conflicts grow not because of what was said, but because of how it was interpreted. When you stop assuming intention, you open the door to understanding. You start asking better questions instead of making painful conclusions. This alone can save relationships from unnecessary damage. God's wisdom teaches us that inner peace comes from clarity, not control. You cannot control how others act, but you can control how deeply their actions affect you. When you stop personalizing every hurt, you protect your emotional space. You realize that your peace is sacred and not everyone gets access to it. Life becomes lighter when you understand this truth. Someone else's behavior is often a message about their inner world, not a verdict on your worth. You don't need to carry pain that doesn't belong to you. You don't need to internalize what was never intentional. By releasing personalization, you reclaim your emotional freedom. So the next time someone hurts you, instead of asking, "Why me?" Ask what might they be dealing with. That simple shift can turn pain into understanding, anger into calm, and emotional chaos into quiet strength. When someone hurts you deeply, anger feels like the most natural response. It rises fast, burns hot, and convinces you that it will protect you. Anger says, hold on to this pain. Use it as a weapon. Let it remind you what they did. And for a moment, anger feels powerful. It makes you feel alive, strong, in control. But slowly, quietly, it begins to drain you. Because anger was never meant to be a home for pain. It was only meant to be a signal. When pain stays trapped inside anger, it poisons the heart. In daily life, we see this all the time. Someone speaks disrespectfully to you, and even hours later, your mind keeps replaying the moment. You imagine better comebacks. You relive the hurt. You feel your body tighten every time the thought returns. That is anger doing what it always does, keeping pain alive. But when you hand that pain to God, something different happens. The pain does not disappear instantly, but it stops controlling you. You stop carrying it alone. Giving pain to God does not mean pretending you are fine. It means being honest without becoming bitter. It means saying in why, our own words, this hurt me. I don't understand it. I feel angry. I feel disappointed. I feel broken. God does not need perfect words. He needs a real heart. When you release your pain in this way, you are choosing healing over heaviness. Think of how we treat physical pain. If your hand is injured, you don't keep hitting it against the wall to feel stronger. You protect it. You allow it to heal. Emotional pain deserves the same care. Anger is like hitting the wound again and again, while surrender is like placing it gently in hands that know how to heal in everyday situations. Anger often makes us believe that holding on to pain will keep us safe from being hurt again. But in reality, it does the opposite. It keeps you stuck in the moment that hurt you, even as life moves forward. While others sleep, laugh, and grow, anger keeps replaying yesterday. When you hand your pain to God, you release yourself from that prison. You allow your heart to breathe again. Many people fear letting go of anger because they think it means letting the other person win. But peace is not losing. Peace is freedom. When you give pain to God, you are not excusing what happened. You are refusing to let it define you. You are saying, this pain will not shape my future. That is strength of the highest kind. Daily life gives us countless chances to practice this. A family member misunderstands you. A friend disappoints you. A colleague takes credit for your effort. Each time, anger knocks at the door. And each time, you have a choice. You can invite anger in and let it sit with you all day, or you can quietly hand the pain to God and choose calm over chaos. One choice exhausts you. The other restores you. There is a deep peace that comes when you stop demanding justice from your emotions and start trusting divine balance. Anger always wants immediate answers, immediate results, immediate relief. God works with patience, timing, and wisdom. When you surrender pain, you align yourself with that higher rhythm. You stop rushing healing and allow it to unfold naturally. Handing pain to God also softens your heart instead of hardening it. A hardened heart may feel protected, but it cannot feel joy fully. It cannot love deeply. It cannot trust freely. A softened heart, guided by God, remains open without being naive. It feels pain, but it doesn't let pain become its identity. Look at people who carry long-held anger. You can see the weight in their eyes, not because they were hurt once, but because they never released it. Now look at people who have surrendered their pain. There is a calm in them. Even when they speak of difficult experiences, that calm comes from knowing they are not alone in carrying their burdens. When you give pain to God, you create space within yourself, space for peace, space for clarity, space for growth. That space allows you to respond wisely. Instead of reacting emotionally, it allows you to move forward without dragging yesterday behind you. So the next time anger rises in your chest, pause and ask yourself one honest question. Is this anger healing me or is it slowly draining me? Then choose surrender. Place the pain where it belongs. Let God carry what is too heavy for your heart. Because when pain is surrendered, it loses its power and you regain yours. Pain has a strange habit. When it enters your life, it doesn't knock once and leave. It stays, it echoes, it repeats itself in your mind long after the moment has passed. A single hurtful word can replay itself 100 times. A disappointing action can follow you into your quiet moments. Many people believe this replaying is a sign of healing, but in truth, it often keeps the wound open. Healing does not require you to relive the pain again and again. Healing requires understanding, not repetition. In daily life, this happens more often than we realize. Someone criticizes you, and even days later, their voice still echoes in your head. You imagine what you should have said. You replay their tone, their expression, their timing. Slowly, the pain becomes heavier than the original moment. The event is over, but your mind refuses to let it end. This is where wisdom becomes essential. There is a difference between learning from pain and living inside it. Learning from pain means asking one calm question: what is this teaching me? It might be teaching you where your boundaries are. It might be showing you who deserves access to your trust. It might be revealing a pattern you need to break. Once the lesson is clear, the pain no longer needs to stay. But when you replay pain without purpose, it turns into emotional self-harm. You suffer again and again for something that happened only once. God does not ask you to carry pain like a punishment. Pain is a messenger, not a companion. Its job is to deliver insight, not to settle in your heart permanently. When you understand this, you stop entertaining painful thoughts as if they are important guests. You listen, you learn, and then you let them go. Everyday examples make this clear. Imagine touching a hot surface. The pain teaches you not to touch it again. You don't keep touching it to remind yourself it was hot. You learn the lesson and move on. Emotional pain works the same way. Once the message is received, repeating the experience only causes unnecessary suffering. Many people replay pain because they fear forgetting it will make them weak or unprotected. They believe holding on to the hurt will prevent future wounds. But holding pain does not make you stronger. It makes you tense, guarded, and exhausted. True strength comes from awareness, not from constant remembrance. In relationships, replaying pain can slowly poison connection. One mistake becomes a permanent memory. One argument becomes a lifelong reference. You say you've forgiven, but the pain reappears every time there is disagreement. This keeps both people trapped in the past. Learning the lesson without replaying the pain allows growth on both sides. It allows the relationship or your personal peace to move forward. Your mind needs direction. If you don't guide it, it will wander back to pain out of habit. When a painful memory appears, acknowledge it without judgment. Say to yourself, I've already learned from this. Then gently shift your attention to the present. This is not denial. This is discipline. Discipline of the mind is an act of self-respect. God's wisdom is forward-moving. It teaches, refines, and then releases. When you trust that wisdom, you stop dragging old pain into new moments. You stop allowing yesterday's wounds to define today's emotions. You give yourself permission to experience peace again. Daily life offers countless opportunities to practice this. A conversation goes wrong. You feel embarrassed or hurt. Later, instead of replaying every detail, you reflect once, take the lesson, and move on. This simple practice saves enormous emotional energy. It frees your mind to focus on growth, creativity, and gratitude. There is also a quiet confidence that comes from this approach. When you no longer replay pain, you signal to yourself that you are capable of healing. You trust your ability to learn and adapt. You stop identifying yourself as someone who was hurt and start seeing yourself as someone who grew. Pain will visit everyone, that is unavoidable. But pain does not need to stay longer than its purpose. When you allow yourself to learn the lesson and release the memory, you honor your journey without imprisoning yourself in it. So when pain tries to replay itself, gently remind yourself, I've already learned what I needed. Then choose to live fully in the present moment, because life is happening now, not in the echoes of yesterday. Many people believe that if they forgive, they must also forget, tolerate, and continue allowing the same behavior. This misunderstanding keeps countless hearts trapped in silent suffering. In reality, Forgiveness and access are two very different things. You can release resentment from your heart and still protect your peace. Setting boundaries is not about building walls of bitterness. It is about creating healthy space where respect can exist. In daily life, this confusion shows up everywhere. A relative repeatedly disrespects you, then expects everything to return to normal once they apologize. A friend crosses the same line again and again, yet uses emotional closeness as an excuse to avoid accountability. A colleague undermines you, then smiles as if nothing happened. If you allow unlimited access in the name of kindness, you slowly teach people how to treat you. And the lesson they learn may not honor your well-being. God's wisdom is deeply balanced. It teaches compassion without self-destruction, forgiveness without foolishness. Boundaries are not acts of punishment, they are acts of clarity. They say, I value peace, respect, and emotional safety. When you set a boundary, you are not rejecting the person, you are rejecting the behavior. This distinction changes everything. Think of daily physical examples. A fence around a garden is not there because the gardener hates the outside world. It exists to protect what is growing inside. In the same way, emotional boundaries protect your energy, your time, and your mental health. Without them, even good intentions can lead to exhaustion. Many people fear setting boundaries because they worry about being misunderstood. They fear being labeled as cold, selfish, or distant. But boundaries don't make you cold, they prevent you from becoming resentful. When you constantly say yes while feeling hurt inside, resentment quietly grows. Eventually, it poisons relationships far more than honest boundaries ever could. In everyday conversations, boundaries can be simple and calm. You don't need long explanations or dramatic confrontations. Sometimes it's as gentle as changing how much you share. Sometimes it's limiting how often you engage. Sometimes it's choosing not to argue with someone who refuses to listen. These choices are not acts of anger, they are acts of wisdom. Boundaries also teach others how to relate to you. When you consistently allow disrespect, people assume it is acceptable. When you calmly but firmly protect your limits, people learn to adjust. Those who respect you will understand. Those who don't were benefiting from your silence, not valuing your presence. Daily life becomes lighter when boundaries are clear. You stop feeling drained after every interaction. You stop replaying conversations, wishing you had spoken up. You stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. Instead, you feel grounded, calm, and self-respecting. God does not expect you to sacrifice your well-being to keep others comfortable. Peace is sacred. Your inner stability matters. Boundaries allow you to remain kind without being consumed. They help you stay open-hearted without becoming emotionally exposed to repeated harm. There is also deep freedom in realizing that you do not need everyone's approval. Setting boundaries may disappoint some people, but losing your peace will disappoint your soul. When you choose boundaries, you choose long-term peace over short-term comfort. Over time, boundaries change relationships in powerful ways. Some connections grow healthier because respect increases. Others natur. Ally fade because they were built on imbalance. Both outcomes are forms of alignment. You are not losing people. You are losing patterns that no longer serve your growth. So allow yourself to forgive without giving unlimited access. Allow your heart to stay soft while your standards stay strong. Boundaries are not walls meant to isolate you. They are doors that open only to what honors your peace. Revenge has a quiet way of disguising itself as strength. When someone hurts you, the mind whispers that paying them back will restore balance, that making them feel the same pain will heal your own. For a brief moment, this idea feels empowering. It gives your wounded ego a sense of control. But that feeling never lasts. What remains afterward is heaviness, restlessness, and the realization that you've lowered yourself to a place you never truly belonged. Growth, on the other hand, leaves no bitterness behind, only peace in daily life. The temptation for revenge shows up in subtle ways. A colleague undermines you, and you feel the urge to expose them. A friend betrays your trust, and you want to distance yourself in a way that hurts them just as much. Someone insults you, and your mind prepares sharp words for the next encounter. These reactions feel natural, but they keep you emotionally tied to the person who hurt you. As long as revenge is your focus, they continue to control your inner world. Choosing growth over revenge breaks that invisible chain. Growth means redirecting your energy toward becoming better rather than becoming bitter. It means asking, how can I rise from this? Instead of, how can I hurt them back? This shift doesn't happen overnight, but it transforms your life in quiet, powerful ways. Think about daily examples. When someone criticizes you unfairly, revenge pushes you to prove them wrong out of anger. Growth pushes you to improve out of self-respect. When someone ignores your effort, revenge wants attention. Growth focuses on excellence that speaks without words. Over time, growth builds a life that no explanation can defend. Revenge keeps your eyes on the past. Growth moves your eyes forward. When you choose revenge, you replay the injury again and again, fueling your actions with yesterday's pain. When you choose growth, you use the experience as fuel for wisdom. Pain becomes information, not identity. There is also dignity in growth. When you don't retaliate, you are not losing. You are choosing a higher ground. You are saying, I will not allow this moment to turn me into someone I am not. That decision strengthens your character. And character is something no one can take from you. Daily life teaches us that the most fulfilled people are not those who won every argument, but those who outgrew the need to fight them. They sleep better. They move lighter. They don't carry emotional baggage into every new day. This is the reward of choosing growth. Growth also changes how others see you, even if they never admit it. Silence combined with progress is deeply unsettling to negativity. When you continue to evolve while someone remains stuck in resentment, the contrast becomes clear. You don't need to explain yourself. Your growth becomes your response. God's wisdom is reflected in balance and patience. Justice does not always arrive instantly, and that can be uncomfortable for the human heart. But when you trust divine timing, you release the need to control outcomes. You allow life to handle what you no longer need to carry. This trust frees your energy to focus on your purpose instead of your pain. In everyday moments, choosing growth may look simple but powerful. It may mean investing in your skills instead of arguing. It may mean focusing on your health instead of your anger. It may mean choosing silence over sarcasm. These choices shape your future more than any revenge ever could. Revenge offers momentary satisfaction. Growth offers lasting peace. One drains your energy, the other multiplies it. When you consistently choose growth, you begin to notice something remarkable. You are no longer defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you rose after it. So when someone hurts you and revenge whispers in your ear, pause and ask yourself, will this make me proud of who I am becoming? Choose the path that leads to peace, clarity, and strength. Choose growth. There comes a moment in life when you realize that not every battle is yours to fight. When someone hurts you, the instinct is to defend yourself, to explain your side, to prove that you were right and they were wrong. Your mind begins building arguments. Your heart demands fairness, and your ego wants acknowledgement. But slowly, wisdom teaches a deeper truth. Some forms of justice are too heavy for the human heart to carry. This is where trusting God with justice becomes an act of peace, not passivity. In daily life, we often exhaust ourselves trying to correct every wrong. Someone misunderstands you and spreads a false story. A colleague takes credit for your work. A friend treats you unfairly and walks away without accountability. Your mind keeps saying, this is not right, something must be done, and that feeling is valid. But when you try to control every outcome, you unknowingly place yourself in constant tension. You replay conversations, imagine confrontations, and wait for validation that may never come. This is the moment when surrender comes strength. Letting God handle justice does not mean pretending nothing happened. It means recognizing your limits. You can speak your truth calmly. You can set boundaries. You can walk away from harm. But you do not need to chase fairness with obsession. Obsession steals peace. Trust restores it. Think of daily examples. When someone lies about you, your first reaction may be to defend yourself everywhere, to explain yourself to everyone. But the more you explain, the more entangled you become. When you step back and allow truth to unfold naturally, what is real eventually rises. Lies require effort to maintain. Truth stands quietly and waits. God works in that waiting. Many people fear trusting divine justice because they think it means the other person will get away with it. But justice is not always loud or immediate. Sometimes it arrives as awareness. Sometimes it arrives as distance. Sometimes it arrives as consequences you never witness. Trusting God means accepting that not everything needs your involvement to be resolved. Daily life becomes lighter when you stop carrying the role of judge, jury, and executioner in your heart. Those roles were never meant for you. When you release them, you reclaim emotional space. That space allows you to focus on growth, purpose, and peace instead of constant mental battles. There is also humility in this trust. It reminds you that you do not see the full picture. You see a moment, God sees the entire path. You feel the wound, God understands the lesson behind it. When you trust that broader vision, you stop rushing outcomes. You stop forcing closure. You allow healing to happen naturally. This trust also protects your character. Many people damage their own integrity while trying to prove someone else wrong. They speak out of anger, act out of spite, or compromise values in the name of justice. When you let God handle what is beyond your control, you protect who you are becoming. You don't allow temporary pain to shape permanent behavior. In everyday situations, this choice shows up quietly. You choose not to respond to every provocation. You choose not to argue with someone committed to misunderstanding you. You choose calm over chaos. These choices may not feel satisfying at first, but they bring long-term peace. Peace that doesn't depend on anyone's apology or acknowledgement. Trusting God with justice also frees your heart from bitterness. Bitterness grows when we believe it is our responsibility to balance every wrong. When you release that burden, your heart softens. You stop replaying pain. You stop waiting for others to change so you can move on. You move on because your peace no longer depends on their actions. Look at people who live this way. There is a quiet confidence in them. They don't rush to defend themselves. They don't panic when misunderstood. They know that what is meant to stay will stay, and what is meant to leave will leave. This calm is not weakness, it is deep trust. Life will never be perfectly fair. That truth can make you bitter or make you wise. When you trust God to handle justice, you choose wisdom. You choose to live unburdened. You choose inner freedom over constant struggle. So when someone hurts you and your heart cries out for fairness, pause and remind yourself, you don't need to chase justice to find peace. Place what you cannot fix into hands greater than your own. Let God balance what you release. And in that surrender, discover a calm that no argument, explanation, or revenge could ever give you. It is a moment that comes after deep pain when you begin to realize that what hurt you did not come to destroy you. It came to shape you. At first, this idea feels impossible. Pain feels unfair, heavy, and meaningless. When someone hurts, you don't immediately think about purpose. You think about survival. You think about getting through the day without breaking. But with time, reflection, and trust in God, pain slowly reveals something powerful. It carries the potential to become purpose. In daily life, the most impactful people are rarely those who lived untouched lives. They are often the ones who were disappointed, misunderstood, rejected, or broken at some point. What makes the difference is not the pain itself, but what they chose to do with it. Some allow pain to close their hearts, others allow it to open their eyes. When pain opens your eyes, it begins to guide you instead of define you. Think about everyday situations. Someone betrays your trust and you feel shattered. Weeks or months later, you find yourself more aware of red flags, more respectful of your own boundaries, more honest about what you deserve. That awareness is not accidental, it was shaped by pain. Now imagine using that awareness to guide someone else, to warn them gently, to support them when they face something similar. Suddenly, your pain is no longer just yours. It becomes a source of wisdom. God has a way of turning wounds into wells. What once drained you can one day nourish others. But this transformation doesn't happen when you rush healing or suppress emotion. It happens when you allow yourself to feel, to reflect, and to grow. Purpose is not found in denying pain, it is found in understanding it. In daily conversations, you may notice that people listen more closely to those who speak from experience. Advice without experience feels hollow, but words shaped by pain carry depth, they carry truth. When you speak from a place you have survived, your words resonate. This is how pain quietly becomes purpose. Many people ask, why did this happen to me? A more empowering question is, who can this help me become? Pain refines your empathy. It softens your judgment. It teaches you patience with others' struggles. These qualities cannot be learned from comfort alone. They are born in discomfort. Daily life gives small but powerful examples of this transformation. A person who once felt unheard becomes a better listener. Someone who experienced rejection becomes more inclusive. Someone who endured loneliness becomes deeply compassionate. These shifts are not coincidences. They are purpose emerging from pain. God does not waste suffering. Even when you cannot see the reason immediately, there is growth happening beneath the surface. Just like a seed breaks before it grows, some versions of you had to break for a wiser version to emerge. That breaking is not failure, it is preparation. Turning pain into purpose also gives your healing direction. Healing is not just about feeling better, it's about becoming better aligned with who you are meant to be. When you attach meaning to your pain, it no longer feels random, it feels transformational. You stop asking for life to be easy and start asking for life to be meaningful. In everyday moments, this may show up quietly. You offer patience instead of judgment. You choose kindness where you once chose defense. You encourage someone who reminds you of your past self. These small actions are powerful. They are evidence that pain did not defeat you, it educated you. There is also deep peace in knowing that what hurt you will not have the final word. Purpose rewrites the story. The chapter that once brought tears becomes the chapter that brings strength. And one day you may look back and realize that the moment you thought broke you actually introduced you to your true depth. Pain shared with wisdom heals more than silence ever could. When the time is right, your story becomes someone else's survival guide. Not because you are perfect, but because you are honest. Purpose does not require perfection, it requires authenticity. So if you are carrying pain right now, don't rush to escape it. Sit with it long enough to learn from it. Ask what it is shaping within you. Trust that God is working even when it hurts. Because one day, the very pain you wished away may become the reason someone else finds hope. And in that moment, you will understand your pain was never pointless. It was preparation.